Is it legal for a sitting president to step down as the nominee?
Significant news breaking today. President Biden withdrawing from the 2024 race, stepping off of the ticket, and endorsing his Vice President Kamala Harris.
In short, yes, it is. It also isn't the first time it's happened. Out of all the presidents, Joe Biden is now the 13th to not seek or not win the nomination to be reelected. Though Biden won enough primaries to position himself for a 2024 rematch with former President Donald Trump as the oldest presidential candidate in history, that all changed on June 27, 2024, when he delivered one of the most disappointing debate performances ever.
Joe Biden is old and out of date.
Just all night, confused and halting and trailing off.
85% of the country thinks that Joe Biden right now is too old to be president.
In the weeks that followed, poll numbers dropped and calls for Biden to step down grew from within his own party. Eventually, he did, and in his place, he endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris, just over 100 days from the November election. Since then, Republicans like House Speaker Mike Johnson have threatened to challenge the step down in court, but the National Task Force on Election Crises ensures that Biden's actions were legal because he stepped down before a candidate had been formally nominated at the convention. Additionally, without a formal nominee, states had not yet printed ballots for the general election. That's because state laws across the country allow for the candidate to be chosen by the party at the convention, regardless of whether it's the same individual who won the primaries. By endorsing Harris before the convention, Biden gave enough time for delegates to organize around her in a fair nomination process to become the party's presidential candidate.
I accept your nomination to be President of the United States of America.
Her formal confirmation at the convention gives her access to donations raised before Biden stepped down and ensures a fair general election. History also proves this isn't the first time something like this has happened. After all, Joe Biden is the 13th president to have served fewer than 2 terms and not gotten the nomination, whether they stepped down from re-election, kept their promise to serve only 1 term, or because their party ultimately chose someone else. Let's dive into some presidential history. Just over 50 years ago, President Lyndon B. Johnson stunned the nation when he announced in March that he would not seek re-election in November, even after winning the crucial New Hampshire primary.
And I will not accept the nomination of my party for another term as your president.
Johnson ultimately withdrew because he escalated the unpopular Vietnam War, and his approval numbers did not look promising. In 1944, President Franklin D. Roosevelt actually replaced his old VP on the ticket with Harry Truman, who became president when Roosevelt died and then won on his own in 1948. Truman initially ran for re-election in the following 1952 primaries, but dropped out due to unpopularity from the Korean War and internal party divisions.
I shall not be a candidate for re-election.
In 1928, Calvin Coolidge could have run for a second term, but simply wrote to his secretary, "I do not choose to run for president in 1928. At the conference where he made the announcement official, he handed each reporter a strip of paper with this statement. And in 1884, President Chester Arthur sought re-election as the Republican nominee, but his party opted for someone else due to his health issues. This is the most recent example of a sitting president being denied the nomination of his party for another term. Aside from these 13, let's not forget that our first president, George Washington, stepped down from the presidency after 2 terms, though at the time he could have run for re-election. He did so in an effort to unite the country and avoid political party divisions. Sounds familiar, huh? As you can see, presidents and their parties have the freedom to make these decisions, as nothing is official until the convention. While Biden never explicitly made a 1-term promise, he didn't do anything illegal by stepping down before the convention, and now joins a long list of sitting presidents who did not seek or lost the nomination for re-election. These are the kinds of risky yet bold decisions made for the greater good of the nation, and it's exactly the kind of leadership we should hope for from our elected officials.